evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the weekly watch list. I am your host, the Option Addict from www.tradingaddicts.com. Got a limited amount of time this evening, so we're going to blast through a few things really quickly. In terms of market analysis this week, I know we ended off the week on just a insignificantly slightly higher note, saw a little bit of a rally towards the day's end. But heading on in here into Monday, I think if you're looking at the S&P 500, break this down into about a 30-day chart or so. And what you really got to look for here is we saw a little bit of a rally off the lower end of this price channel that we've been following for quite a while. Until we break outside of this, which is going to be north of 700, I just don't, I think you still got to continue to play with this trend, which is obviously heading lower. Any kind of violent rips that you see, use that opportunity to sell into. And of course, when the market bottoms out and starts to reach these deeply oversold levels, that's where you maybe look to add a few longs while taking profits on some shorts. At the same time, everyone keeps talking about a big rally, and I keep looking for it myself, to be quite honest. I think the market's well overdue. But what I'm watching here is the old VIX. Keep a close eye on this, because once this support level here in the VIX starts to give way, which will be priced right at about 45 by now, once the lows start to give way here in the VIX and the support level's broken, close beneath this level, my conviction would start to lean a little bit more to the bullish side. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with a couple dips, rips, breakouts, and breakdowns. Check these out. Alright, and I've got a slew of price patterns here for you, so let's take a look at these. Number one, I'm looking at AOC, and I've been watching this stock recently, and the way it's been trading lately looks to me like a little bit of a symmetrical triangle. If you're bearish on the stock, which is obviously trading down here near its lows, if these prices hold, you can use this kind of as an anticipatory entry point, and if these highs give way, you can look to get out of the trade. There's also a bullish trend line that's up and coming on this stock, but inevitably what I'm looking for is a breakout in this pattern in either direction. Next is ticker symbol HNP, and you probably don't have to stare at this one too long to see what's going on here. We've got another symmetrical triangle that's been developing here over the last couple of months. Again, look for a breakout or a breakdown of this pattern as a signal to get long or short. Next, I've been watching this stock here for a couple weeks now, Ameristar Casinos, ASCA. There's a nice little ascending triangle developing here. Really good anticipatory entry if you're bullish on the pattern, if you're bullish on the stock. I can't really, with a lot of conviction, say that I'm bullish on the stock here or bullish on any casino for that regard. But if prices hold down here at about $9 per share, you might want to get in there, try to maybe buy into it slowly and surely. With the stop maybe about 8.5, and if the lows get taken out, you bomb out of the trade here. But the way prices are setting up, the trend looks pretty bullish here compared to its competitors. Next, DNR. Same thing, a little bit more of a symmetrical tone to this pattern, but with the way this thing's been trading, which is pretty positive here, I'll watch for a breakout. A couple of the energy stocks have been taking out some of their highs recently, materials as well. I'm still bullish on that group heading into this week, especially with the way crude oil is trading overnight here. Next, J.Crew, JCG. I'm actually getting pretty bearish on retail. I'm looking to establish a few more positions this week. But there, we finally saw the breakdown out of this pattern that we've been tracking since last week. So the best plan here is not to chase it. If prices pop back up and rally to about 10, I think that's a perfect price to look to get short. Next is BMC. Been watching this stock hold up well over the last couple weeks. To me, it just looks like it's in an extended bull flag. And pretty good rally off the lower end of this channel, which is getting pretty close to this support level. Right off at about 28 is where I'd call it. But on a trend like this is going to be a stock you want to look to buy the dip in. So if you want to get anticipatory, I like it around 28. If you want to wait for the confirmation of this little bull flag, wait till it prints 29. Next is ticker symbol ACS. My drawings here are kind of messy. You take those away and you can see this a little bit better. But resistance up here, let's call it about 48. Highs are equal. Lows are getting higher. Nice little rally off the lows. Again, in a situation like this, you want to get anticipatory, you buy the dip. If you don't, if you want the higher probability trade, wait for the breakout. That's going to come north of about $48 per share. Next is Garmin. And if you take these lines away too, this is what I'm looking at in Garmin over the last couple weeks. Little pennant, little mini symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. Prices have been coiling up. And I think there's a big move coming. So keep a close eye on this one. Next is ticker symbol TRI. Take a look at this descending triangle here, trading off down near its lows. I think once these lows are taken out, the stock goes into the teens, which will require a move below 20. But based on the October, November lows, doesn't look like that's going to be all that hard to accomplish. Next, kind of an odd stock here, Texas Roadhouse. Never eaten there, but I like the way prices are shaping up through here. You've got some higher lows that have been developing in this trade. And you've got some equal highs right at about 8.5. So to me, it looks like just a long ascending triangle here, and the stock's just waiting for an opportunity to break out of 850. And that's the signal I'd be watching for here. I don't know if I want to get too aggressive since this stock sold off at the close on Friday with a pretty good uptick in volume. Next is ticker symbol INTU. Got another triangle or another pennant, whatever you want to call these here. You can see the shape going on right there. Looks to be a little bit bullish, and volume is starting to tick up here as the stock price starts to increase. So I'm thinking we might see prices break out of this to the upside, which, looking at this pattern here, suggests about a 3 to 4 point move, which puts the stock at least back up here to its January, late December highs. Next is ticker symbol ESS. Been pretty bearish on the REITs here lately, and ESS is no exception. Can see almost a little bit of a symmetrical triangle forming here, another pennant. Keep an eye out on this. I've got a bearish position in the IYR right now. In fact, I've rolled in and out of that a few times over the last couple weeks. But I'd be watching for a breakdown here. If this thing does break to the upside, I'm not going to take a long position. I'd rather just sit this one out. But if prices do give way at about 50, I think it makes sense to get short. Or look at some of the breakdown candidates I have this week because, overall, all these stocks are starting to hit new lows. Next is Stericycle, SRCL. Got this long-term bearish trend line. The stock's kind of bumping its head up around there. I think this is a good sell the rip candidate. But if you take this all away, where's the price pattern? To me, it's this, right through here. A little descending triangle with an anticipatory entry point up here at resistance, which I call resistance right now about 48, 49. Two more. I've got SYT. And the way prices have been trading through here lately, to me, it looks like we're just developing a nice little ascending triangle. Trading up pretty close to resistance, too. So with something like this here, wait for the breakout. Take a position there. Last but not least, ticker symbol HTH. I've been watching this little stock trend for a while here, and it looks to be pretty strong. You can see the trend through here. It's a pretty good buy the dip candidate, but if you also look at this really closely, got a nice little pennant here over the last week and a half. It's worth the trading. And not to mention, if you zoom out on this about 1 year or so, getting pretty close to wanting to take out the highs, which is always a good signal. So that's what I'm watching this week. I think this week it makes sense to stay pretty well even in terms of risk. If you're going to take a handful of bullish positions, counter that with a handful of bearish positions. Don't start betting too much on market direction quite yet unless we come out with a real directional move here on Monday, which I just don't think we're going to see. So like I said, pair your risk along with the short. Try to stay relatively balanced and don't start betting the farm quite yet. Keep it to a reasonable number of positions that are easy to manage. But anyway, folks, thanks for spending a moment of your time with me here this evening. This has been The Option Addict. That's my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Kill!